time ago, I ordered the United States Armed Forces to launch precision strikes on targets associated with the chemical weapons capabilities of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad. A combined operation with the armed forces of France and the United Kingdom is now underway. We thank them both. Tonight I want to speak with you about why we have taken this action. 1 year ago, Assad launched a savage chemical weapons attack against his own innocent people. The United States responded with 58 missile strikes that destroyed 20% of the Syrian Air Force. Last Saturday, the Assad regime again deployed chemical weapons to slaughter innocent civilians, this time in the town of Douma, near the Syrian capital of Damascus. This massacre was a significant escalation in a pattern of chemical weapons use by that very terrible regime. The evil and the despicable attack left mothers and fathers, infants and children thrashing in pain and gasping for air. These are not the actions of a man, they are crimes of a monster instead. Following the horrors of World War I a century ago, civilized nations joined together to ban chemical warfare. Chemical weapons are uniquely dangerous, not only because they inflict gruesome suffering, but because even small amounts can unleash widespread devastation. The purpose of our actions tonight is to establish a strong deterrent against the production, spread, and use of chemical weapons. Establishing this deterrent is a vital national security interest of the United States. The combined American, British, and French response to these atrocities will integrate all instruments of our national power, military, economic, and diplomatic. We are prepared to sustain this response until the Syrian regime stops its use of prohibited chemical agents. I also have a message tonight for the two governments most responsible for supporting, equipping, and financing the criminal Assad regime. To Iran and to Russia, I ask, what kind of a nation wants to be associated with the mass murder of innocent men, women, and children? The nations of the world can be judged by the friends they keep. No nation can succeed in the long run by promoting rogue states, brutal tyrants, and murderous dictators. In 2013, President Putin and his government promised the world that they would guarantee the elimination of Syria's chemical weapons. Assad's recent attack and today's response are the direct result of Russia's failure to keep that promise. Russia must decide if it will continue down this dark path or if it will join with civilized nations as a force for stability and peace. Hopefully someday we'll get along with Russia and maybe even Iran, but maybe not. I will say this, the United States has a lot to offer. With the greatest and most powerful economy in the history of the world. In Syria, the United States, with but a small force being used to eliminate what is left of ISIS, is doing what is necessary to protect the American people. Over the last year, nearly 100% of the territory once controlled by the so-called ISIS Caliphate in Syria and Iraq has been liberated and eliminated. The United States has also rebuilt our friendships across the Middle East. We have asked our partners to take greater responsibility for securing their home region including contributing large amounts of money for the resources, equipment, and all of the anti-ISIS effort. Increased engagement from our friends, including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Egypt, and others, can ensure that Iran does not profit from the eradication of ISIS. America does not seek an indefinite presence in Syria under no circumstances. As other nations step up their contributions, we look forward to the day when we can bring our warriors home, and great warriors they are. Looking around our very troubled world, Americans have no illusions. We cannot purge the world of evil or act everywhere there is tyranny. No amount of American blood or treasure can produce lasting peace and security in the Middle East. It's a troubled place. We will try to make it better, but it is a troubled place. The United States will be a partner and a friend, but the fate of the region lies in the hands of its own people. In the last century, we looked straight into the darkest places of the human soul. We saw the anguish that can be unleashed and the evil that can take hold. By the end of World War I, more than 1 million people had been killed or injured by chemical weapons. We never want to see that ghastly specter return. So today, the nations of Britain, France, and the United States of America have marshaled their righteous power against barbarism and brutality. Tonight I ask all Americans to say a prayer for our noble warriors and our allies as they carry out their missions. We pray that God will bring comfort to those suffering in Syria. We pray that God will guide the whole region toward a future of dignity and of peace. And we pray that God will continue to watch over and bless the United States of America. Thank you and good night. Thank you.
So, as you just heard, we bombed Syria last night, but you know, our president makes you look one way and then goes another way. He's got to be like that. Wanted to start things off a little different. I wanted you to hear that in case you didn't know about that. We're going to touch on a few things. So Q said last night, right before I ended my video with my friend from the UK, 11:45, trust POTUS, Sparrow red, missiles only, intel good. Q. So if we look here, it says none of the U.S. and allied missiles entered Russia anti-air defense zones, defense military. None of the missiles that were launched by the U.S. and its allies entered Russia air defense zones that protected facilities in Tartus and Kemen. The Russian Defense Ministry said warplanes excuse me, and vessels of the U.S. Air Force, together with French and UK allies, launched a missile strike on the civilian and military facilities in Syria early Sunday morning. The ministry said in the statement, none of the cruise missiles launched by the U.S. and its allies reached the Russian air defense zones that shield the facilities in port city of Tartus and Kemen Air Base, it added. So it said a strike was carried out in the capital of a sovereign state, which for many years has been trying to survive under the threat of terror. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharova said. So don't panic. No, we trust POTUS, trust the plan. We could check here. So this is from the Syrian army. The U.S. and its allies are going after their first two waves were foiled. They expanded their attack to reach multiple areas in Syria so they can score any kind of victory to present to their public, and Syed will be there to defend all of Syria. Confirmed the first wave of attack was completely foiled. Not a single missile reached its target. Very small number of missiles, 2 or 3, of the second wave reached their targets. The third wave is inbound, and the citizens of Damascus can see the Syad destroying incoming missiles in the sky. So don't fear. Don't fear. These... Can't trust what you read. You kind of have to read between the lines, because it's all... there's all interlying messages within all of this. We have another one right here. Stonewall Jackson on Twitter. Trump bombed Syria along with France and England. Before you get upset, just remember that you do not have security clearance, and you do not know 99% of what he knows. Don't pretend to be a military strategist. You don't know what you're talking about. You can't possibly. Right. Trust the plan. Don't get all freaked out. So this is a good friend of mine, Dream Peyton Green. It says she's extremely popular on Facebook. She said, I knew something felt off, so I started digging. Reports were flying that they were bombing in Damascus. Well, that didn't make much sense because Damascus was destroyed in 2015. Russia brought in their missiles, defense systems, so the U.S. did not cause any unintended damage. Russia cleared out, and Assad and his family left days ago. They are taking Hezbollah out. So that's it for that. We touched on Backpage yesterday. I found this today. As the largest online sex trafficking marketplace in the world, Backpage facilitated the sex trafficking of innocent women and children through sites and ran for 943 locations in 97 countries and 17 languages. It was involved in 73% of all child trafficking cases reported to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So, I mean, this was a huge bust. The guy who ran this is FBI. I mean, you know, do the math for yourselves. It's all corrupt. We are bleeding them dry. We are exposing the truth. We are getting the job done, right? So, I believe that's all I wanted to talk about. Short and sweet. It's Saturday morning. I got to hang out with my family, of course. Family first and foremost. So, like I said, if you're not getting notifications, please click the blue bell. If you found this informative, please subscribe. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. I enjoy all of this. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Alrighty.